Now this aquarium is one of the largest reef aquariums in Sydney. It holds about 3,500 to 4,000 litres of water. And there's a whole bunch of absolutely thriving fish in here. But over the recent times, some of the corals, particularly the LPS corals, have not been doing as well as we wish. Now we've got to keep an eye on fish like this rusty angel, because we have seen him doing a little bit of nipping, which is not ideal. The salt level in here right now is 0.023. We'd really prefer 0.024. It's got some nice protein skimmers on it, which are getting cleaned every 1 to 2 weeks, but I'd really rather them clean twice a week. It's getting a large water change every 5 to 6 weeks, but not a gravel clean. Now, I am very scared of tanks that don't get gravel cleaned, because over time you're going to build up hydrogen sulfide in the gravel, and then if you're unlucky and if it is all released, you can actually kill your fish. Otherwise, the hydrogen sulfide can slowly leach into the aquarium, causing you all sorts of problems. So I prefer to use a gravel clean, but if you are going to start gravel cleaning, make sure you have polyfilter in the water to remove any residual residual hydrogen sulfide. Now the pH in here is 8.4, 8.1. I'd really rather 8.4. Finding room for a dosing pump is certainly possible, but easier to say than do. And that helps to create a little bit of consistency. The oxygen level in here when I tested it today was 4, but I really want 8. So we did move the power head to make sure that there's plenty of oxygen. There's no actual lids on the tank, so therefore increased surface agitation, hopefully that's enough to give us the good oxygen. The KH in here currently is 6, I really want 8. There's no ammonia, no nitrite, but the surprise of the day, regardless of there being this many fish in the tank, there's actually 0 nitrate and 0 phosphate, which is almost hard to believe considering the stock of fish. And it's not like you're looking at a tank full of anorexic fish. In general, the fish actually look really good. But at the end of the day, it's the tests that matter. An assumption is the biggest mistake you can make in this industry, because it's super easy just to look at this tank and go, oh yeah, there's oxygen, no way is that a problem. Nutrients, there's no way that's a problem. But until you test it, particularly with a reliable test kit like the JBL test, not just cheapo test kits that a lot of people tend to use. So that even the silicate level in here is 0. So the corals are just very hungry. Now the calcium is sitting at 380, and I really wanted at least 420, and he hasn't actually dosed the calcium in how long?
Probably 6 weeks.
So the calcium has hardly been going in, and that's because the corals wouldn't be growing, and that's because the corals actually wouldn't have enough nutrients to grow. The magnesium is 1420, which is a good level. It's maybe slightly high, but it's a good level. Reef Energy A and B and a couple of other coral foods have been getting added, but not enough. So it's really important that particularly if you're losing your LPS corals more so than SPS, because in this tank, the SPS, the lower nutrient corals are actually doing really well, whereas the higher nutrient corals like your morphs and gonioporas and your stuff that want more food, they're the ones that we're losing. So increased food is going to help this situation. But one thing I'll say from 25 years of marine tank consultation is it's normally the simplest thing that causes you the problem, and it's normally the thing that you assume is not going to be a problem that actually causes you the problem, and just proves that testing is the key, not assumption. So my bet is that we increase the amount of coral food going into the tank, increase the diversity of the coral food going into the tank, and then I'm quite confident that the corals that are currently starving will all start to do really well. It will mean that it'll probably get a little bit more algae, but that's a very small price to pay to make sure that we're very happy with the corals that are going on in the tank. Anyway, if you see any other obvious comments, by all means put a little note in the bottom of this video, and we'll consider whatever you suggest.